The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, San Antonio. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Oh, we have some great shows for you this morning. In fact, our first show, when this expert, Dr. Julio Jimenez, signed up with us to do our functional medicine show, we actually spoke for about 45 minutes, and I was mesmerized. He is one of the smartest men when it comes to healthcare. And again, it's called Imagine Wellness Center. And I got to tell you, this doctor, Dr. Julio Jimenez, is probably one of the smartest and brightest doctors I've spoken to in a long time. I could just sit back and listen to him talk, but let me introduce him to you. Dr. J, we call him. Good morning, Dr. J.
Good morning. How are you doing today, Steve-O? Everything good?
I still remember our first talk about 3 months ago, and I just really enjoyed listening to you talk. You have some incredible ideas when it comes to health. And I got to tell you, if you're ailing, and even not only San Antonio, we get people writing us from San Marcos and Austin. San Antonio's not that far, especially to go to such an expert. Tell everybody about Imagine Wellness Center, first of all.
Yes, thank you, Steve. Well, we've been practicing here in San Antonio in Imagine Wellness Center for about 15 years or so, just practicing completely functional medicine. And in that time, we've really became a powerful functional medicine clinic because we do focus a little bit differently than most functional medicine clinics. We do focus in root cause. And I always like to talk about, being an expert in the root cause of dysfunction. And that is the biggest issue today. Nobody wants to know the root cause, right? And that's the big thing in medicine. If you come in with a problem, let's say, high blood pressure, for example, nobody tells you why the high blood pressure is there. Nobody's going to tell you how long you got to take the medication for the high blood pressure. When is my body going to heal, right? So because nobody wants to know why. Everybody just wants to know how can you bring that pressure down. Same thing with all the medicine, right? It is just, just masking the problem, not really taking care of the root of the issue. And this is the reason why, as we see our patients, we do our best to create a process. And we've created a program that if you really want to regain your health and reclaim that good life and longevity of health and just enjoy life differently because of chronic disease, make sure to look us up at imaginewellnesscenter.com. We have so much information, and I know that we're going to, our show is so short that sometimes, we get to talking and sometimes we don't get to explain a lot of things. But at the end of the day, though, I want the public to understand that if you're listening, that you have any chronic disease, there is a reason why you have it. And there's a reason why your body's blocked to cure itself. And I believe that the biggest thing here is that you have an innate intelligence, right? You have the God-given ability to balance your body. But if you cannot balance it, that's when disease comes in. And the balance comes, and I'll talk to you a little bit about this that we were talking about. And the balance comes because nobody wants to find out the root of it. And your body's really, all the parts of your body work together, for that balance. So to me and my team and my health coaches and thousands of people that we work with, that have reclaimed their health from variety and very, very bad chronic diseases, from cancer, any autoimmune, okay, Hashimoto's, Graves' disease, multiple sclerosis, you got psoriasis. I mean, there's over 100 different diseases that you don't have medications for to cure it. You just have a few treatments. Understanding that your body has the ability to heal itself. Your body has the ability to kill that cancer. Your body has the ability to decrease the inflammation that attacks your good cells in autoimmune. Your body has the ability to restore and repair that gut. Your body has the ability to do so much. But why is that not happening? Why is it that maybe, Steve, you have allergies and I don't, right? Why?
Mm-hmm.
We breathe the same air. We're in the same area. Why is it that one person has it and the other one doesn't? It's because all about how the body reacts to dysfunctions in the imbalances and what's blocking that body to heal. And that's we really created a process that we unlock that safe, we got to figure out what is the combination that is dysfunctioning within your body that does not allow your own body to recover and restore itself. And then we created a process called the IW method, which is really consists of, and I mean, if you go on my website, you will find a questionnaire where we can really dictate what system is out of place. And then there are 4 systems that we spoke about. I want to tell the public this. The way I do it is that I want to find why you have the problem. So there are 4 systems that are intertwined with each other that we will find that problem. Is going to be your digestive system, your endocrine system, your neuroendocrine, and what we call the circulatory immune complex, meaning inflammation in your blood. Okay, all those 4 are connected, and there's so much chemicals out of balance. And I know a lot of people in functional medicine believe that medicine, that your foods are your medicine. I do agree with that. But a lot of people out there today believe that just by exercising and eating healthy, you're going to be healthy and everything's going to go away. And we have so many patients that, yes, it works for them to exercise and eat healthy, has helped them, but a very high amount of people do that and they're still sick. So why is that? That's because our body needs more help than just the nutritional perspective and the powerful foods. Sometimes our own foods are a problem, especially in autoimmune. So again, exercise and fitness is important, but not as important as, to me, when I look at my patients, as, let's say, the endocrine system, your glands, chemicals in your body that nobody looks into. So there is a root cause to your, let's say depression, for example. Okay, let me just give you a domino effect of the systems. So let's say that you're stressed out a lot this month. Okay, rent is due, you had a death in the family, you're getting divorced, or job, whatever it might be, right? You have a lot of stress. This stress creates a hormone called cortisol. When you have elevated cortisol, it's going to have a lot of things in your body, all right? Okay, cortisol, how can that affect my depression? Well, let me tell you how. By high cortisol is going to increase inflammation and disruption of your digestive system, okay? Your digestive system, okay, it produces 80% of a neurotransmitter in your brain called serotonin. Serotonin is your happy neurotransmitter, right? This is where you're dealing with depression, right? So therefore, nobody wants to know the why, but I just told you, can that hormone, cortisol, have an effect all the way up to your brain? Yes. So you see, they're intertwined with each other. Okay, your heart doesn't just work by itself. Your liver doesn't just work by itself. Everything is connected. And if one system is out of place, then the whole thing. I don't know if you read the Bible a little bit there, Steve-O, but a lot of times that we're all part of the body, right? And I mean, yes. If you cut your tiny little toe down there, you have to learn how to walk all over again. So again, everything is balanced. Everything is put together. Same thing in our health. And this is how we created a process of how we can really educate our patients. Try to it's not a cookie cutter, right? It is individualized process to your specific needs, to your specific imbalances, to reclaim that health and have longevity. And again, the chronic disease that you might be dealing with, this is where it's coming from. It is coming from the systems. So therefore, when you come into our office, what we want to do first is identify which system is out of place and let's work on it. Once you start seeing how your systems starts working better, for example, let's stick with the endocrine system. Let's say your thyroid is out of place. Okay, the thyroid is what produces the energy to all of your cells. right? So if you see somebody skinny out there, Steve-O, and you think, oh, wow, that guy's got great food metabolism, but in reality,
Right.
is not. That person has awesome energy metabolism, meaning that his body is burning more energy in his cells or her cells than maybe the person that's overweight, right? But how can we increase, or what makes that metabolism of energy happen? Your thyroid, okay? But there's a twist to it, okay? And this is where a lot of doctors misdiagnose the thyroid, and there's a lot of things why. And why do I always talk about the thyroid? Because I can tell you 95% of my patients have a very sluggish thyroid. And most of the time, once we balance that, everything starts working better in their body. Why? Because they create that energy that is needed for that cell to function from that organ. But the twist that I'm telling you about is that your thyroid, okay, produces an inactive hormone. And we talked about this, in the 45-minute talk that we had before. And your thyroid produces a hormone called T4. That T4 is not what your body uses to create energy. Your body uses a T3. Okay, now we get T3 from T4, but T4 needs to be converted into T3. Okay, this is where interaction of systems happen that most doctors are not looking into, right? So therefore, your gut and your liver converts T4 to T3. So let's bring it back to the adrenal function. Okay, now high cortisol, right? Disruption to your digestive system. Can that affect your serotonin production? Yes, right? Or can that also affect your thyroid, where your thyroid is producing hormone, but you're not activating it? You're still going to be in the hypothyroid symptoms, even if you're taking medications for thyroid, and you have no change in your symptoms. It means that maybe your gut and your liver doesn't like that Synthro levothyroxine and medications, and it's not activating. And then you're not burning what? Your activated T3 hormone that gives me my energy. You see how this is intertwined? So let's say that you're dealing with anything. Let's say you're very tired. Why would you be very tired? Why am I so sluggish all the time? Why am I so sleepy, right? Well, if you don't have enough of that T3 hormone, right, you are not going to be burning energy that gives the energy to your cells. Not only that, not burning energy, you're still eating. So what are you doing? If you're not burning what you're eating through the energy metabolism, you're storing it. So now you are overweight. You have these big issues on that. In women, you start seeing how their hair starts to fall off more. You start seeing how they're emotional. Their fingernails are weak. They become foggy. They can't think straight. So again, I'm just kind of telling you and the public that, if you really want to get healthy, we need to really think outside the box, as we've been taught since we were little. If you get hurt, right, what do we do? My stomach hurts, what do? We go to the doctor. What does he do? He gives us the pill. Right. We go, take it. Hey, I feel better. So we're really like the monopoly, let's say, in a concept that we grew up with. We need to change it. We need to think differently of how our healthcare is today, because if our healthcare worked, we wouldn't have sick people.
Right.
Our healthcare works because we do have sick people. It's kind of like, Microsoft, what they do, they created a system of computers, but then they say, let's create a virus, right? Let's throw that virus into the system. But wait a minute, we have a antivirus. Let's help you do that.
Yes.
So what does that do? That's a money-making machine, right? Bill Gates is how he got, that's how he got not just creating a product, we created an imbalance. And that's what's happening in our healthcare system today. It is so corrupt. It is so dysfunctional. I mean, it has such a big monopoly because they're so big. And little people like us in functional medicine, we're really we are tied down. There's not a lot of things that we can say. So for example, let me give you an example here. If I do an advertisement let's say in Facebook, okay. Facebook does not allow me to use words like disease, like let's say multiple sclerosis, or say, hey, you got multiple sclerosis. Can we help you? Yes. I cannot say, are you overweight? You want to lose weight? No. Are you fat? I can't say that. Are you fat, tired, and sick? I can't say that. So I cannot use so many words. I cannot use the word treatment. I cannot.
Wow.
They will tie you down in a way that the public, right? Like this podcast, we have the liberty to say what we want to say.
Exactly.
But in a setting of advertisement, let's say in the newspaper, for example, I used to do some advertisement there. Well, they flagged me down. Hey, you cannot say treat. Okay, you are expressing yourself as you were a medical doctor, and you're not. So I cannot use it.
Unbelievable.
It is. It's functional medicine. We are fighting against the current all day long, okay? Because there is a suppressing, there is a fight against us from day one. If you go back and study how medications, and especially the oil or petroleum-based medications, which most of them are, back from the Rockefeller time, right? Until today, they still have control. So today, the elites, the big companies, the big money will suppress us all day long because we cannot bring the truth to the people, right? If I'm talking to people about thyroid, okay, I cannot say, hey, you got hyperthyroid, we can help you. I can't say that. I can say, hey, we can, or I can say, hey, Steve, are you overweight? You fat? You want to lose weight? Come and see me. I can't say that. Okay,
that is amazing.
I say I can treat you. Hey, listen, you got Graves' disease where your thyroid is hyperactive. I can treat that. Come on in. We'll do it organically. I can say that. I have to say completely different language where I can use words like help, assist, and here we go. So again, it is a tough world to be in the functional medicine to bring different perspective organically to the people. And this is the reason why these pod shows are really important for the people to listen and understand what's going on in their health. How can we help them?
I got two questions from, here's the first one from Mary. She said, how do you go about balancing the thyroid? And Ray wants to know, how do you deal with stress? Because that seems like it's a big roadblock to what you do.
Yes. All right, so let's begin with the thyroid. The most important thing for me with thyroid is that we need to do the analyze it. Okay, we need to do some blood work that's going to tell us how the thyroid works. Okay, and where the problem could be. Okay, so let me just give you a quick example here to this. What's her name?
Mary.
Mary. All right, Mary. So this is what's going on. When you go to your doctor to look at the thyroid, every doctor out there, the way they teach us is that we're going to look at a thing called the TSH and T4. Okay, TSH is produced by the pituitary gland. T4 is produced by the thyroid. Okay, if those two are normal, then everything should be normal, which is not. Okay, I want to explain to you that when you come into my office, I'm not just looking at the production of the thyroid. Okay, so T4 is what your thyroid produces, as we were saying earlier. If the production is low, okay, the solution to that is give you a synthetic T4. Correct? That's the thing. If you're dealing, Mary, with thyroid, you're taking maybe Synthroid or maybe levothyroxine. That's what you're taking. All right. You might take compounded, like Armor, NP thyroid, things like that. You know what I'm saying? But this is completely synthetic T4. Why? Because your thyroid is not producing. All right. Nobody's wondering why your thyroid is producing. They're just saying, let's just give you more because you need more. Okay. And then from there, there's nothing to talk about. That's all they can do for you on the thyroid. You see, when I go about looking at your thyroid, the very first thing I need to do is I need to look at beyond. Okay. Number one, is your thyroid not producing enough, that T4 hormone? If it's not producing, or if it's producing too much, okay, then why is it producing too much? Okay. 90% of the time in women, the reason why your thyroid is not producing enough or is producing too much is an autoimmune response where your defense mechanism, your body's so inflamed that it's attacking your thyroid and is making it overproduce or underproduce, okay, called Hashimoto's or Graves' disease, okay? But remember, the reason why most medical doctors are not going to look at this is because there's no cure for Hashimoto's or Graves' disease. They don't have a pill for it. So why would they want to test that? See, to me, it's not a pill that I'm selling you, is that I'm going to decrease the inflammation in your body so your body no longer attacks your thyroid, right? So in production, where is the problem, right? Because now you might have nodules, you might have cancer, you might not even have a thyroid. So we need to identify where that's coming from, but that's just half the battle, right? The other side of the coin here is that my thyroid is producing an inactive hormone, right? So let's think about this. My T4, we call it gasoline, all right? And the synthetic medication that you're taking is gasoline, but your engine runs on diesel, okay? So you cannot make your engine run on T4. That's the gasoline. But we need the gasoline because we can withdraw, okay, the diesel is called T3 to give me energy for my engine. All right. So therefore, if you don't have fuel for your engine, if you don't have the diesel, I don't care how much gasoline you have in your body. I don't care how much T4 your thyroid is producing or how much of that Synthro levothyroxine your doctor is giving you. If that is not converting to my T3, to my active, which is my diesel, that's going to fuel my engine, you're going to have all the symptoms of the world of hypothyroid. Okay, you're still going to be sick. Okay, we need to convert it. And that's the conversion. So how can we find that out? Just do the blood test, just as simple as the blood test that you did to begin with. So when you come in, we're going to be doing a thorough, thyroid checkup. And yes, do I have substances, organic, that can increase your T4 and your T3? Definitely. We have everything organic to balance your thyroid. In fact,
you have supplements.
Yes, it's a supplementation. Okay, it's a glandular that we use that comes directly to us from New Zealand, and it is very, very good. There's so much supplementation for thyroid out there. I'm a thyroid patient myself, and this is the reason why I'm so sure of what I do with the thyroid is because I took all the iodine, the seleniums, the zinc, the thiamines that's supposed to help my thyroid. The functional medicine teaches. But that didn't work out for me. And it didn't work out for 95, 98% of my patients. So It works just for a few patients who are deficiency in that area, right? So we need to identify the root, what's going on. So if you're having all these bad symptoms and you go to your doctor and your doctor says your thyroid looks great, that's because they're just looking at production. If that production, that gasoline, they're looking at the gas. But if the gas is not making it into my diesel, my refinery, my gut and my liver is not making it into my diesel, then I'm going to have all the symptoms that I begin with. And if that medication is not converting, same way. So again, this is how I would look at you as a patient when you come into my office with thyroid issues, even if you're taking medication, even if you don't have a thyroid, even if you're high or low. The first concept is, why are you high or low? Secondly is your own body converting it, and how much of the good fuel do you have, right? And is your problem autoimmune? Because now it's different treatment. Right? It's different treatment. So again, that is the thyroid. That's how we would look at the thyroid. And I can guarantee you that 95 to 98% of my clients, when they come into my office in chronic disease, they are having a very low production of thyroid, which is barely on the normal level, which your doctor says you're okay, right? Because you just, as long as you're in the range, you're going to be fine. But that doesn't work that way in thyroid. Okay, if you're really low, to me, I look at like my tank of gasoline. If you have a quarter of a tank of gas, you're not going to go very far. So your body is going to go very slow everywhere because it's trying to what? Trying to squeeze that fuel for the whole day. So I need that 3/4 of a tank. We need it on the higher end, which is called the optimal levels. Okay, and this functional levels, not clinical levels. So we are looking at you in a different range, in a different clinical range. So, and that's also very important to know. Okay, we're looking at you differently. Now, as you talked about, the other question was, how do you balance your stress, right? What do we need to do for that? Okay, so when I'm looking at stress, the first thing that I do with my clients when they come in and Dr. J, I am stressed out of my mind. I'm going through a lot. The first thing that I do is that let's look at cortisol, because there's a difference between stress and pressure, okay? Steve-O, we all have pressures in life, and we're going to, till the last day we're here, we're going to have pressures, right? I mean, from you being late today, no, I'm just kidding. From you
just
coming
watch
in,
TV. That's all you got to do.
All you have to look at the riots and get upset of things, right?
Yeah.
And look at Doge cleaning all that junk, and you're sitting like, how could this be happening in this beautiful country of ours that is supposed to be the leading? And here we are, we got all this corruption, all this craziness, right? So for example, that could really bring up our pressure, right? And then say, man, why could that happen? But if that pressure starts increasing your cortisol, okay, that is a chemical from the adrenal glands, the little gland above your kidneys, now is becoming stress. Now you are increasing cortisol and your body is put into a fight-flight response, meaning that your body thinks somebody's trying to kill it. And it's going to increase a lot of physiological metabolisms in your body, okay? By increasing high blood pressure, heartbeat, you need energy. So again, I want to test that cortisol first because I want to make sure that, yes, you're going through a lot, but is that pressure making you stress? And if that stress is coming from you, then we need to identify it, okay? And identify it and test it to make sure that if it's elevated. And also, what time is it elevated? Is it more in the morning, midday, or in the evening, or even at night? And the other symptoms, like I can't fall asleep, I can't stay asleep, right? A lot of those things are going to be in the process of that, of how we look at the beginning of stress. And then we can give you a lot of techniques of how to, restore your mind, of how to calm yourself down. We can really talk about the, more of a calming your brain down. Okay. Not only that,
Hey, Dr. J, I'm sorry to cut you short. Tell people how they can reach your office.
Yes. So in my office, it's going to be, you can reach us. You can go online to imaginewellnesscenter.com, or you can call us here in our office at 210-798-9322. Okay. 210-798, 9322. Okay. So that is our phone number. You can call us. You can set up. In fact, we have a deal that, if you want to learn if this is what you're looking for, you can go online, set up a 15-minute discovery call, as we call it. You can, you can ask us if, there's a good fit of what you're dealing with and if we can help you with that. And then you can create a consultation with me. We do work online. We work with people all over the nation. In fact, we have a clinic in Spain. So we do work with Europe. So again, we're all over the place. We do work a lot through Zoom online, but that's how you can reach us for sure. And get more information. There's so much videos on my YouTube channel, imaginewellnesscenter.com, and you can go into my YouTube channel. You can find a lot of testimonials, hundreds of testimonials. We've been doing this for a long time, and it'll tell you a little bit of how well people respond, and maybe you'll find in those testimonials what you're dealing with. Okay, but yeah, that's how you can reach us.
You're amazing, God. I could listen to you all day long. If you missed part of the show today, you can go to iHeart, or you can go to Spotify, or you can go to YouTube. Dr. J, thank you so much. You're just an amazing doctor, and people should listen. If your doctor has told you nothing's wrong with you and there's something wrong, go to Dr. Jimenez. Thank you so much, Dr. J.
You are so welcome. Thank you very much. God bless everybody, and stay healthy. Give us a call.
God bless you.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.